Hi guys, this is Rose with Pertaining to Rose. Got a question for you all day. Are you that type of person that sees the bill collector coming and you escape out the window and down the fire escape? Or maybe, the phone rings and you're afraid to answer because the bill collector's calling, or just there's things to be done and you can't get done. Maybe your deck needs fixed or rebuilt and you just look at it and you've been looking at it for 20 years and just be like, "Ah, I don't even want to think about it. Not even gonna worry about it." And you go off to do something else. Let me tell you, you can change these things. If you had the same thing over and over, you gotta get tired of living that way at some point. You gotta get tired of, you know, there's a stack of bills over there and there's no way to come up with extra money to pay it, or there's things that have to be done, but yet you have no energy to do it or no enthusiasm or motivation to do it. Let me tell you, if you're one of those people, you need to hear this. Sometimes just doing a little bit will give you the gumption to go on to do the rest. And you just gotta make yourself do it. So, back in the day, I was young. I had two really young kids. At the time, they're all grown up and married and have children of their own now. But I just couldn't get motivated. Even when I had money, the bills were sitting there and I'd look at them and go, oh, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to worry about that right now. Let me go do something else. Then I'll think about it. And it would get put off for another day until somebody's calling and saying, hey, you forgot to pay your bill. And you're like, okay, I should probably done this instead of doing that, it was always something. I could not get myself situated. So at one point, I started a little journal and I wrote down, I had one of those little cash books. And I wrote down every bill I owed, when it was due, and how much it was due, and how much it would be to pay it off. So I had a lot of little bills. And I couldn't figure it out. I could never catch up. But like Fingerhut. They send you those really cool books in the mail and you go in through them. You're like, oh, I gotta have that. Look, it's only $3.50 a month for this. Oh, but I can get that too, and I can pay another $7.80 for that. Before you know it, you got a $20 bill every month for something you just had to have. It's a blender you could have bought, at one of those chain stores for probably less money. The same thing. You could have ran up and paid in full and be done with it. Instead you decide, oh, I'll just rent it or I'll just pay payments on it. A lot of people don't know this, but there's interest on those things. And you're thinking, okay, well, we'll put that, we'll rate our bills. The small ones at the top and the large ones at the bottom. And you're going to do a page or two, depending on how many bills you have, filled out for every month of the year. So if you're starting off in June, you want all your Junes, start there, and, so on and so on. And then I want you to take the whole payment of your smallest bill, and I want you to pay that bill off, and then divide the rest of your money up for the rest of your bills. Make sure you pay your house bill and your car payment first, because you gotta have a place to live, and you gotta have a vehicle to get to work. Things like that, they're a necessity, and you need food for, groceries. So you gotta take care of your necessities first. But whatever little bit's left over, that doesn't mean, oh, well, I can buy extra cupcakes this week, because I still have this much money. Try skimping for a couple weeks and do this. Take that extra little bit of money and pay off that smallest bill. And get it out of there. Throw those little catalogs out. Don't even look at them. Throw them in the recycling bin. Stay away from them. Pay it off. Be done with it. And then it's out of the way. And then your next month rolls around. Look at whatever bill you have. Now you know that little tiny one is now crossed off the list. You no longer own that. And put the total at the very bottom of what all your bills add up to every month. That way you know. Next month, your total's going to be smaller because that little bill is gone and done. Out of the way. Go your next small bill. And say, oh, I owed $38 on this one. Why haven't I ever paid this off? I keep just throwing it aside. These people have been bugging me and calling me. Let's just pay it off and get it done with. That way, I don't ever have to hear from these people again. And then it's done. Pay it off. You know, now you got that extra $58. You know, 20 from the first one, 38 from the second one. From those two small bills that are now gone off your monthly list. That means that's $38 extra. You can, or $58 extra. You can put that on your next smallest bill. You know, you're going down the list. The small one, the little bit bigger one, a little bit bigger one, a little bit bigger one, a little bit bigger one, to the very biggest one. And keep applying that extra money that you are now saving from paying off those little ones and getting them done and out of the way. Or maybe you don't have enough money to pay those ones. Think about it. You got your house payment, your car payment, your groceries, the Pampers you gotta buy for your kids, and, you know, formula and whatever else, and now there's no money left over. Maybe it's time to sell something. Sell something and say, okay, I made $15 from this one sale. Instead of sticking in your pocket and winding up spending it on something dumb, just apply it to that smallest bill. Do that once a month. So over the year you sell, what, 12 things? If you can pay off a couple bills that you couldn't afford to pay off before, now you can. You know, when you start getting these things and you start doing it and making yourself, and do it every week, you know, look at your bills every week and say, okay, this is what I got for the week. I still have this for when my house payment's due and that for when my car payment's due. But I got this little much. I'm going to apply it to the next smallest bill on the list. And do it. If you have to start couponing and really scrimping and saving to do it, do it. Because once it's done and out of the way, something lifts off your shoulders. You can feel that weight just releasing. Remember to owe no man no debt. And when you got bills, you're owing them that debt. And keep going until you get down to only your big bills. Now, you still got your electric and your gas and your water and sewer and trash and your insurances that you have to pay. Everybody has to have fire insurance and so on. Car insurance. It takes up a lot of your money, you know. So once you get all these other little bills, those credit cards, once you're done paying them, if you don't need them, get rid of them. Don't use them to pay your bills. Do not use credit cards to pay your bills. That's not a good deal. I mean, if you're earning money back and that's saving you on your bill, but then you got to make sure you have the money to pay your monthly payment. And I'm not talking your minimum payment. Pay it off every month. You know, you have to really think smart about it. You know, all these little tiny things. And when you get to your bigger bills, like your car payment and your house payment, then you can apply that extra money that you're now saving because you done paid off all those little bills. You can apply it to make a bill and a half, or, you know, a month and a half worth of payment, or a double payment that month. You pay it down faster, and then when that item is paid off, like your car or house, they're going to wind up owing you money because you paid it off early. You know, think these things through. You're going to save yourself thousands of dollars in interest when you do this. And some people, I don't know where their mindset is, but they just kind of like, oh, but it's better not to deal with it. I'd rather just, buy that Happy Meal for my kid now and not have to go through the torture of listening to that child scream than worry about that bill right now. You know what? You're doing yourself more harm than good. Go home if you don't feel like cooking something, making a bowl of cereal, and say, "That's what you're eating. Sorry about your luck, pal." You know what I mean? They'll get over it. They really will. You may have to put up with a few temper tantrums until they get used to the new you. You'll change your life. That weight comes off your shoulders. If you're one of those people that have been looking at that deck for 20 years, they more like, oh, that thing's just gonna fall through someday. Why don't you make yourself a list and say, okay, well, I would like a new deck and I would like it painted. Well, why don't you call the zoning board and say, okay, what do I need? If I need to build, do I need a permit? Do I need somebody to come out and inspect, where it's going in the ground or whatever, your foundation stuff, or can it set right on the ground? Find out from them first and write it down. Write down what you need. And then go and get measurements about how much you want. And then try to figure out, okay, if you have to go to Home Depot or Lowe's or one of those places and say, this is what I need, and I'm trying to figure out how much wood I would actually need and what kind of screws I would, and how much they're going to cost. And, maybe I should get pressure treated, or, really look into the prices of it. And keep yourself a journal on it. Okay, this is what I need, and start thinking about it. Okay, once you make yourself start the process, you're more likely to finish the process. So I used to put this sign on my ceiling above my bed. This is no lie. So I was young. I worked all the time. It was crazy. I had 2 little kids. I was always babysitting everybody else's kids. I was always trying to run businesses. But I could not make myself get out of bed in the morning. So what I didn't know at that time is my blood sugar would drop overnight while I was sleeping. And that's why I had such an issue. But in my mind, I thought, oh my goodness, I must be the laziest person in the whole world. And that wasn't true. I had a medical issue and I did not know that's why I was having these issues. I found that out many years later, so, now I can deal with it much easier. But I did learn doing one thing at a time helped. With trying to get things done where I needed it done. But my little sign on my ceiling above my bed said, just do it. And the reason why it was that sign is that's what my mother used to say to me. Just do it. She'd get mad. She'd be like, just do it. And you would just do it then. So in the morning I would open my eyes and that's what I would see. That sign on my ceiling. And I'd be like, okay, I gotta do it. And I would force myself to get out of bed. And then I had to force myself not to climb back into it. Like I had to make myself leave my room. Or I knew I would wind up back on that bed. You learn how to deal with these little things. So there's things that you have to really think through. And, one time I actually did this. I really wanted to change. I wanted to change my thought process. I wanted to change the way I reacted. I wanted to change my motivation, everything. I just wanted to be better. And I didn't know how to be better. So I started asking people, what is the one thing that I do that irritate you? And I'm only asking, you don't even have to, tell me if you don't want to, but I'm only asking because I'm trying to make myself better. Well, some people would answer that and some people wouldn't. But I had quite a few really good answers that I was really surprised, things that I never thought of. So, one person, and I'm not going to say their names because that would be really rude of me, because I love them with all my heart. And I was actually quite impressed because it was one of the things I changed. So, they told me I acted sort of hillbilly. You know, I kind of had that redneck lifestyle, and I, I'm not a racist. Do not think that. Please do not think I've never been that way. I love everybody. But I lived, my mother was from the mountains, and that lifestyle I just loved. People that didn't care about anything. If they wanted to jump off their porch in their bare feet and run through the yard, they did it. They they didn't care what other people thought about them, and that's kind of like how I lived. But once they said that to me, it really made me think. Well, everybody sees me as this way, and it made me think. Okay, well, there's a few things I could change. Not cut my shorts as short. I used to cut my jeans off into shorts. Yeah, there's a little things like that. Or I started buying my clothes a little bit better. I stopped wearing all black. I wore black shirts all the time. Everything was black on my clothes. You know, I kind of slowly started, okay, well, thinking, the process made me think, okay, does this make me look hillbilly when I act this way, or when I talk this way, or the way I dress, and, the way I present myself, who wants to go into a business meeting with somebody that acts quite the character? Yeah, it's, you really start learning, okay, how can I make myself better? And it will change your life. It really will. Start keeping a notebook and start writing down the things that even annoy yourself. I do things that I annoy. I've said things to people, and then afterwards I think, what's the matter with me? Why would I say something like that? Now, how do I apologize for something like that? Then you're too embarrassed to apologize. But once you start doing it, it becomes natural. Now, when I say something that I shouldn't have really said, it's like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I cannot believe I said that. Please forgive me. It'll change your life. People, when they hear you apologize and you want forgiveness, and they automatically, oh yeah, don't worry about it. We all say that, you get over those embarrassing moments. So you gotta learn not to climb out the window and down the fire escape anymore. And maybe it's time to take a little responsibility. Sometimes just answer that door and say, okay, well, what can we do about this? Can you take payments? Can you, I used to get all upset, like, oh no, this has happened again. Why put yourself through that frustration? It will definitely turn around. When you start trying a little bit, your life will change. You will be a totally different person if you keep practicing these things. And I mean, truly loving yourself. Truly love yourself and start thinking, okay, what is the best me? And how do I want to be? And start doing it. I had the worst penmanship. The absolute worst. It was chicken scratch. I actually had a boss one time. I had to fill out an application for another job in the same plant. I knew I could do that job, and I knew I was very capable and very good at it. But you had to put in for it, and it was like a little application. Well, I filled out my application, and I handed it in to them. And he goes, I need you to redo this. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because nobody can read it. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, I can read it. My handwriting was just that bad. So I did fix it and take my time and really print it out nice the best I could. But it made me think about my penmanship, and it's something I never thought. And then one day I saw my dad writing, and he went to Catholic school. He had beautiful handwriting. And I'm looking at it, and I was like, I love the way he made his number 7. Just the, it was just something really simple. So I practiced writing my number 7s like that. I learned to look at other people's handwriting and be like, oh, I just love how they make their M's. And then I started practicing making my M that way. I wasn't copying their entire handwriting. I was practicing to get better penmanship. And over the years, I practiced different letters and what looked best. And then one year, I went in and did my resume, and I did it all by hand. I didn't have a way to type it out. And the guy looked at me, he goes, this is probably the best penmanship I've ever seen in this place. Now, my penmanship is not that good, but apparently he thought so. And I've never heard anybody ever say that to me. Ever. Ever. People used to tell me my penmanship was atrocious. But now I know when I write something out, people can read it, they see it clearly. You change those little things. Change those little things. Just even if it's something tiny. You're thinking, well, that's kind of dumb. But you really think about it. You'll be proud of yourself for changing those little things in your life. And down the road, it will make you a better person. I try to avoid running out of fire escape. Yeah, I've never done that. That was just the example I used. But I remember when it was hard to pay all those little bills. At one time, I had 13 bills. I'm thinking house bill, car insurance, the fire insurance for the house, and water, sewer, trash. And, I had all these bills, and they were just like, shh. And I kept getting behind and kept getting behind. Finally I was like, I gotta do something about this. And I found that little cash book. And I thought, I'm just gonna keep a little journal here and write down every month what I, am paying out and how much I owe. And I kept a total at the bottom. Before the end of the year, the only thing left on that bill was my house payment and my normal everyday, my normal monthly payments like my gas and my electric. Easy peasy stuff. Then I started learning, if I pay this bill early, my insurance, I get a big discount. And I started doing that. I changed the way I lived, but it took forever to get that way because I didn't have the help I needed. Now, I had an aunt that would come down and help me list things that, like, I really didn't know what I was doing. She kind of teaching me how to budget, I had people that way that would help me from time to time, but I really did not know anything about that kind of stuff. First time I got a bank account, I didn't know how to write out a check. So the first time the bank received the check back, to take the money out of my account, they had to call me into the bank and teach me how to write a check. Nobody's ever taught me how to write a check. I did not know. I had no clue. So I was really happy that they taught me, but I was also very embarrassed going in and learning that. But now I know if there's something I don't know, I go in at the bank and I ask them. And they're so helpful. They're like, oh, it's easy. Doing your check register's easy. And they show you all the little steps. It's boom, boom, boom. And then just taking care of the little things in your life. A little ingredient will have huge impact over the years. I should have not have made this video this long, but I just think about it. Think about the things that you know will make your life better. It could be something as simple as wanting to replace a deck that you've been tired of looking at. Just do it. Oh my goodness. You will be so happy when you're done. If you gotta hire somebody to help you, or if you don't have the money to hire somebody to help you, maybe, get some pizza and invite some friends over and say, hey, I want to build this deck. I don't know what I'm doing. Help me out here. I got the pizza. You know what I mean? You'd be surprised. They just might show up and help you. Life will change for the better if you go with the flow and start learning how to do things. Pay your bills. I love you all, YouTube. I am so thankful that you came and listened to me this far. If you listened to me this far, put down in the comments that you heard me talk. And definitely tell me what you do to help yourself grow a little bit better. Okay, love you, YouTube. Bye.